This Jean Smart, like, renaissance that is happening, all for it.
She's just brilliant. Like, she's mesmerizing. I think I could watch her read the phone book, you know? It's amazing.
Today I am here with Mackenzie Lansing of probably the best show on TV right now, Mare of Easttown.
That's very sweet of
you. So, Mackenzie, your character, Brianna, a very rough around the edges individual.
Yeah, very politically correct way of saying it.
I know that you've probably gotten a lot of the worst person on TV and all this, and it's a tough argument to disagree with, but I think there's layers to the character, and I think you do a fantastic job, as I think all viewers do. What is kind of your inspiration? I mean, how did you kind of take what was on the page and create Brianna out of that?
Well, for one, I thought a lot about, you know, people that I knew in my small town who were that girl, you know, who were very sort of loudmouth and outspoken, and how sometimes it's sort of, you know, I grew up in in France, but in a blue collar town, and how there's a very particular aspect to that, even in like the style. Like, I think when I went in for the audition, I wore like big hoop earrings and like some really tacky hoodie. And I was like, yeah, this is how she dresses. But, you know, further than that, I think also just, you know, I think when you play a character that's problematic, you're doing a disservice to the writing and to supporting the, you know, the people who are quote unquote good characters in it, if you don't view this as a whole person, a fully rounded person, and try to bring humanity to them, and, you know, kind of justify what they're doing in your own head, even when they're doing horrible things, because that's going to make it more authentic.
That makes sense. Is it difficult for you now? Like, do you get a lot of like, that's the worst, she's the worst and I hate her? Like, do you ever internalize that? Like, I'm not that bad of a person.
No, not really, because you're not supposed to like her. And like, even people who don't like her after she, you know, has like a change of heart, I get it, you know, and I have feelings about characters like that too. And I think that, you know, the good thing is she's getting reactions, and that's what you want out of a character, you know, and they're talking about it as the character, not as me. So no, I don't take it personally at all. You know, I'm just glad people are enjoying the show and getting so involved in it.
Right.
I made a whole thing out of responding to like the mean tweets, like in a jokey kind of way, but yeah, that I've been getting on Twitter and stuff about Brianna.
You know what? That brings me. I'll ask this question. I'd love to know what your reaction response was to the SNL sketch, which was very funny. How did you feel about that?
Oh, I thought it was amazing. Me and my friends were walking around going murder, dur, for like the next week. Also, like, anytime anyone was like, is that Brianna from Mare of Easttown? My friends were like, no, that's Brianna from Murder, Dur. Like, they just, they really took it and ran with it. But I thought they did such a good job. Like, I laughed so hard because they really nailed it. Like, you know, the whole thing where like everybody in the town is related to each other in the police station. I was like, yeah, that's it.
That was such a great sketch, man. I just watched it a little bit ago, and I was like, gosh, this is just A+ writing right here. This is just so good. As far as the storyline for Mare of Easttown goes, did you get the whole script right up front, or was there a lot of stuff that was like a mystery to you as well?
Oh yeah, there was a lot of stuff that was a mystery to me as well. I think, you know, they only released the episodes as need be. So like, I only had read like the fight scene with Brianna. That's the first one I auditioned with. And then when I did the second audition, I got one more scene, and then I got a third scene. And then it was only when I was on set that I was like, oh, she has more than 3 scenes. Because, you know, I would be getting the episodes as they went, and they'd be telling me, oh, we're booking you for this and that day, but maybe I'd only get the script like a little bit later, you know? And even once I had everything, they held out on sending out episode 7 for a very long time. And some people didn't even get it, I don't think, because they were like only on an as need basis kind of thing.
Oh, wow. So So I guess, does that mean that you know what happens in the finale? Like you know what's going to happen. You know how it ends. I know you can't tell us, and I won't press. I won't.
I do know. I think I don't know how well I remember because I read the script a long time ago. But yeah, I know the broad strokes for sure, and I've been following all the theories. It's really fun to see everything that everyone's coming up with. Stephen King weighed in today saying that he had a theory, which he's not going to tell us yet, but that on who did it.
That sounds suspect. That sounds like, look, who am I to disrespect Stephen King? I would never dare. But to say like, oh, I'll tell you later. Like, wait a minute.
He was like, I'll tell you if I'm right. I'm like, no, but he's great. I'm sure he's guessed it because he's, brilliant that way. But I was like, why just pitch it now?
Yeah, just tell us. I was suspect of the uncles early on, which I think a lot of people were, but I also felt like it was a misdirect at one point. You kind of, it just bounces around, and I'll admit I had pretty much written Dylan off up until the last episode, and I started to kind of be a little bit more suspect of him. And then, now it is what it is, and the way that it's ended has implied, that it was the uncle. So we'll see, I guess, when the finale airs this coming Sunday. Have you been following the episodes? Like, have you been watching the show with the fans as it's aired?
Yeah, I have actually. I haven't done that for all the shows that I've done, but for this one, I'm like invested, and also like I made friends with a lot of people on set who I didn't get to see their work. So I want to see what they did with it. And I also, the script is just so good that I remember so many scenes, and I'm like, oh, I really want to see how that came out. Was it the way I imagined it in my head and everything? So yeah, I've been following every episode for sure.
That's awesome. Well, this is sort of a two-part question, I guess. So I'd love to know what it was like for you working directly opposite Kate Winslet. I mean, wow. And what was it like watching those scenes back, afterwards?
Ooh, yeah. So working with her was amazing. I mean, she's talked about it, and how she took on the role of mentor on set, but also took her role as producer very seriously. And even before, she had been talking about that in interviews. That's something that like I felt 100% from her, where this was like her baby, and she took it very seriously, and also wanted everybody on set to feel welcome and included. And yeah, like I got to know her fairly well. We like hung out, we joked around, and she's just like a normal, really funny person who's an amazing actress, but also a mom, and has interests, and is really funny. Like if you've ever seen that show Extras, where she plays herself in it, that's what she's like in real life. Like very in the moment, when she's shooting, she's doing her thing, but then as soon as the camera, they call cut or whatever, she's making jokes. Yeah, just a very warm person. And also like fully was like giving me life advice and acting advice and things like that. It's like, that's priceless. But yeah, watching back the scenes, it's always, I'm used to it now, but it is a weird thing where it's like, it's never the way you remember it. And you almost like disassociate. You're like, oh, there's someone who looks a lot like me on screen right now. Cause you don't think about the way you look or the way your face is moving. If you're doing it properly, you're just kind of like living in the moment. Right. And when you're sitting there on that couch in this house that they had us in with all this like very, I don't know, the way they decorated it was amazing. Like the parents had like way too many pictures of Brianna, like little shrines. I don't think that like got in the shot, but it was really cool. But it's so interesting. Like you're in that space and then you watch it, and it's different than what you experienced. So you're really living it through it as a viewer and an actor in a very separate way, if that makes sense.
That is interesting. Yeah, I hadn't considered that before. And this isn't even your first time like in a situation where you're working opposite caliber like this, because you were on HBO's The Deuce, where you worked with Maggie Gyllenhaal. Yeah. So it's like you've got this, like you're getting this front row seat to like such incredible, caliber actresses. So this is your second time working for HBO. So are you just gonna keep going, try to like maybe get you on like What's another HBO show? I can't think of one right now. I watched Last Week Tonight. You should co-host Last Week Tonight with John.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm gonna do.
Hacks. Let's get you on Hacks. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, start a hashtag. I'll do it. Whatever.
That's it. Mackenzie, hashtag Mackenzie on Hacks.
Yeah, perfect. Oh my God, I love Hacks. I started watching it, and Jean Smart, I had the pleasure of meeting her very briefly on set. We don't have any scenes together, so it was just kind of like in passing, but she's wonderful, and she's always been one of my favorite actresses. So yes, putting it out in the universe, Hacks.
I mean, like, Designing Women is literally an absolutely iconic sitcom, and this Jean Smart like renaissance that is happening, all for it.
She's just brilliant. Like, she's mesmerizing. I think I could watch her read the phone book, you know? It's amazing.
I absolutely agree with you 100%. Mackenzie, listen, thank you very much for taking time to sit down and talk to me today. I really appreciate it. Very excited about the finale of Mare of Easttown. And I hope that everything turns out the way Stephen King thinks it's going to.
We'll see, I guess.
We'll find out.